So offshore energy indeed is important when we consider the energy sovereignty as a whole for France and Europe. We are lucky in France to have the second largest maritime space, so it's a great potential for wind energy, for sea energy at large. We also have jobs created thanks to this offshore energy. For instance, SKYBORN is a shareholder of the Fécamp offshore wind farm in France, and today it's about 1,400 jobs created. As a whole in France, the industry, the wind offshore industry, has around 6,000 jobs in this industry, and we expect around 35,000 jobs by 2035. Jobs, factories as well. We have 3 factories: Cherbourg, Le Havre, and Saint-Nazaire, manufacturing wind turbines and exporting them. So that's also important for the energy sovereignty. Now we need to keep that step ahead in France and in Europe. With strong acts like the Green Industry Act in France, like also the European Green Act. And I would say also it's important to think Europe, not only think France, and find synergies between our countries. So actually, SKYBORN Renewable is one of the world's leading offshore wind platform. It designs, develop, finance, also build and operate offshore wind farms worldwide. We are present in about 14 countries with more than 350 employees, and that's the offer we have to be one of the leader. One of the key aspects for SKYBORN is that we've been a pioneer for more than 20 years now in the offshore wind industry, and since 2007 in France. So we have a very deep knowledge of the offshore wind industry. We are also working very closely to the territories to develop these projects with a good understanding of everything that is at stake locally. And we are also very proud to have 7 gigawatts of projects being in operation today, with more than 30 gigawatts under development. And we are in particular in France shareholders of the Fécamp and Courseulles projects with about 1 gigawatt of production, and in particular with the Fécamp offshore wind farms, which will start producing by the end of the year. So when we speak about energy, we need to speak about energy mix, and the offshore wind energy is definitely part of this mix. It offers stable, strong winds. It's also somehow easier to develop offshore wind projects because it has less impact for the local populations. So it's part of the solution. So how do I see the future? Actually, it's great because we now have ambitious targets. The French government, announced targets of 18 gigawatts by 2035 and 40 gigawatts by 2050, which is ambitious. And they also mentioned that it's a minimum requirement. So that's great. There are even more ambitious targets in the UK, in Germany. Fine, but now, when compared to the Paris Agreement carbon neutrality targets by 2050, it still remains quite slow, and we need really to make sure that the administrative procedures go faster. We need to make sure that the social acceptability also becomes quicker, and to make sure that those targets are really held. I would say together, because it's really important to work jointly within the whole value chain, to be strong and not compete too much between each others. in order again to be able also to convince states to have great objectives on offshore wind. So yes, together.